This is your weekend market review for Friday, April 21st, 2023. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well.
This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is your weekend market review for Friday, April 21st, 2023. OPEX is over, choppy week, leadership is narrowing, price action is, in my opinion, getting uglier. It looks like the bigger short is to come, but just be aware we do have what? Earnings continuing next week, a ton of big name earnings. Then the following week you have the FOMC meeting. At this point, we're at the inflection point, in my opinion. It's just a matter of when before we start rolling over. We'll get into the evidence of why. If you're unsure, please check out the whole review, grab a coffee, get comfortable, and let's get into it. So we know there's a lot of things going on. Saw today where in the housing market, for example, the administration is changing the rules on, the cost per loan, giving incentives to people with subpar credit, and then penalizing people with great credit. Seeing a ton of other things going on with Apple, Nvidia, certain other news around the world, especially specifically businesses cutting jobs and expecting slower sales. Now, again, I've said this a million times, the market does not bottom before the recession starts, and currently we're not technically in a recession, and the feds are still raising interest rates. It's going to be a sloppy, choppy market for potentially a while. I think this year at worst, and then they'll try to bottom the market out whenever they can. And again, I said this 1,000 times, the markets don't bottom when everyone's bullish. I've tried to warn people that, and it just doesn't seem to make sense to a lot of people that a bear market is a trader's market, up and down. So let's get into more of the review and the evidence. If you're new to the channel, want to join the Discord room, a link is in the description below. Please follow on Twitter, posting what I think is the most important news. I mean, like yesterday, the Philly Fed data, just, bad. It's so bad. There's so many things out there that are pointing to the recession that is coming. It's just a matter of when and the price action. That's all I can tell people, right? Like inflation is anchoring in, PMIs or manufacturing slowing down, economic activity slowing down, unemployment is going to rise. Again, remember, Fed rate hikes have a delayed effect. And as of right now, let's just I always like to refresh this because it updates constantly. 85% of a Fed rate hike in May 3rd. Bitcoin. Yikes. We talked about it looking up to the top of the range. If you don't know why this area matters, just zoom out. When in doubt on any trade, zoom out first. And then when you zoom in, you notice this area matters. Well, we look up, we look below. Are we going to fail? As I've told people, just like I like gold, I like certain things long term, you have to trade them if you're bullish certain things, because at some point, the market takes everything down. Liquidations happen. It's going to be sloppy and choppy. So just be careful, be thoughtful. Oil, same thing, hits recent range highs. We talked about OPEC cutting. Well, we're below the OPEC cut now, right? It gapped up on the OPEC cut of 1.5 billion barrels per day. Now you are pulling back. They don't cut because the economy is strong and demand is strong. Same thing when the feds decide to cut interest rates. They don't do it because everything's strong. So, you know what I mean? It makes sense. Natural gas, we said, just leave it alone. Don't need to worry about it. I think in time it probably will bottom out sooner than later, but it could be just this choppy action where you don't see any real action until the feds pivot. Remember, that's the best time to buy commodities, when the feds pivot. Now, they have rallied recently because people thought they were going to pivot soon, but I don't know. Let's talk about the dollar, because the demise of the dollar, which everyone is predicting, and it got really bad last week, seems to not be happening. And I've said this 1,000 times. I think the feds, if they do anything, they raise rates to try to get money into the dollar, try to stabilize the currency, to get people to buy U.S. Treasuries. Seems to be potentially working at the moment. Dollar seems to be holding, speaking of Treasuries, in a tight range. Holding range lows, we'll see, 103, 109, or do we come back to the 99 level? I've said many times at some point I think interest rates will go significantly lower when things get scarier. But until then, we could be in a choppy range. I'm really not going to take too much from it other than interest rates aren't going up or down big at this point. Remember, the Fed fund futures rate is different. The rate with the banks, interbank lending rate, what the feds are talking about versus treasuries are totally priced differently. If you have any questions, please reach out. The VIX, holy crapola, this is the lowest weekly VIX since March of 2022, if I remember right. No, sorry, it's back here. Yeah, pretty wild. that we're back down here considering everything that's happening. Not surprised, actually. You pump liquidity in the system. They try to scare out everybody who's short. They try to bring, I don't know, how would the best way to describe it is just confidence to the markets. And then what? VIX termination, holding down. Remember, we talked about the VIVIX, which is the VIX of the VIX. Somebody's expecting the VIX to start waking up. It's clear as day in the charts. SPY, people can be getting pretty anxious about it, but I mean, could we retest the highs? That's always got to be back in your mind. You got to define your risk. But this action, choppy, sloppy, and we've said, check out the monthly. I mean, I love doing the monthlies. We're at the 20-month curling down. Can we really get that much higher? I really doubt it. And remember, this is the big difference between a bear and bull market, is that in a bear market, the 20-month is now resistance. Same thing with the Qs, just chopping around. And honestly, the Qs look a little weaker to me, right? Hits the 20-month. 20-day is now crucial in this range here around 315. Gotta hold it. IWM, we talked about it lagging. Should be up high, should be leading. The economy should be great if everything's gonna be better. IWM has been lagging completely, 1,000%, not even close. And it's potentially breaking the trend line. Watch the 20-day. If that fails, adios, amigos. DIA, lagging, chopping at trend line, lower highs. I mean, again, that needs more confirmation, but it doesn't look great. It's making lower highs. Gold. Got a lot of flack for telling people to take profits in gold the last couple weeks, but it's looking like the second quarter is going to do what the second quarter does to gold. And if, again, the Feds are raising interest rates, gold might get sold off. That's my interpretation. Now you're below the 20-day. Yikes. We talked about this choppy, sloppy top, choppy, sloppy bottom. Be careful. Silver reaches into the Ukraine high areas. It better hold 29. Say 23 all the way to the 2250s. It better hold. If it doesn't, adios. Miners, you got to be careful. They lead up and they lead down. Look at this 20-day. Not good, y'all. GDXJ, the juniors lead even more. Weaker. Look, below the 20-day. I got a lot of flack for the last couple weeks telling people take profits, raise your stops. If you don't know the past of what happens, literally what happens in a bear market, at some point when the capitulation comes and the market drops and the VIX spikes, nothing is safe, not even the miners. Just be careful. AG had their earnings just holding up. We talked about them, doing what they were going to do financially. They said we're going to stop producing as much. Boom. Rallies back to the 200-day, 100-day. We talked about novice gap trap. Looks going like it's going sideways. AEM, been one of the stronger names, but backing off now. Again, makes new highs. It looks like a bull trap on the weekly if you zoom out. Coming back down. Newmont. We talked about Newmont lagging. It could even get up to the January highs. Dog crap. Now it's just trailing down. If Newmont's down, what else is down? Probably the rest of the miner sector. And here you go, PAAS. I mean, I saw people on Twitter, stock twits. I saw also people go pushing this PAAS trade, and they all said 19 was a strong buy. And they must really love 17 too. Let's get into tech. AM Dizzle. Lagging. 50-day precipice. Not surprising. It's slowly cranking down. Told people about the chip glut. Now it's going to work out. Just a matter of when, not if. Micron can't get over the 64, 65 range. Boom. 20-day. Looks like trash. Taiwan Semi. Earnings. I told people yesterday, I was like, I don't think the earnings were that great. I'm not surprised it's up because of the reaction can be sloppy, but look at that. Pop. 10%. Boink, boink. Bounce. Making new lows. Semis. Not looking so hot. NVIDIA trying to hold on for dear life under the 20-day. Telling you this thing is going to melt like butter at some point. Intel. You got to think about how everybody loves NVIDIA. Just watch. Like, this is like the Reading Railroad if you've checked out the recommended reading of Livermore and, the last rail to go. Like, all the other rails are, aka chips, are now melting. It's like, it's a matter of time. SMH, it's on. It's on, baby. 50-day, new lows. I know this is an indecision candle, but keep an eye on this. This 246 area, adios. Adobe. Chopping at the 20-day, looks kind of weak. Apple, trend line. Major VAP zone, a lower high. Watch the 20-day. It's looking a little choppy, and it's just crazy how many every day it's like green. It's like, At some point that flips, and we've been there. Amazon, nice trade. Dwayne talked about taking a stab at it above the 200-day. Just be careful. I could see it trying to fill the gap, though, before earnings coming up next week. Keep an eye on it. CRM, we've talked about the 200 level, just seems to be acting as resistance, chopping around. Okay, Guggenheim has nothing all week, just chop, 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 chop. 20-day. Meta looking like it's gonna melt. Watching the 20-day old trend line. Keep an eye on it. Microsoft gets the 290s. 20-day. Keep an eye on it. Being held up by OPEX? Question mark. I potentially so, but keep in mind it is earnings. Here you go. Gap and trap. Keep an eye on NDAQ. Again, I've said these names look like crap. I feel like they will be in time, but you got to pick your spots. You got to try to get near the highs. It's hard to chase these down here. MicroStrategy, 20-day, Bitcoin adios, Netflix earnings, absolutely, in my opinion, not good. Gaps down, chopping. If you shorted up here at the trend line and VAP zone, you're still good. Roblox, we talked about this, just lagging. They gave up doing their monthly guidance. Gaps down, 50 days acting as resistance. Tesla gets absolutely destroyed on earnings. In my opinion, it's worse than people are expecting. And this is probably going to chop and then go lower, in my opinion. I would not touch this with a 5-foot pole. People are really trying to jump in and pick the bottom here. Even Kathy Wood, as dumb as she is, I mean, she's just wrong all the time. And I'm still amazed she even has a following. Letter X, materials names, lagging. Coming on down. Nucor had earnings yesterday. Everyone thought they were good. I said I didn't think they were good. I thought they were bad. Looks pops up to the 50-day. Lower lows. Caterpillar, global leader, been weak, soft, chopping sideways. Whole lot of nada. 20-day. I mean, look at these. I mean, XDiv and just chops. Chop, chop, chop. VALE, not good. Someone pointed this out. Gapping down, making new lows. Global growth on fire, right? VALE not showing that arrow. These copper names, this one's been holding up pretty well. Choppy at the highs. Speaking of copper, Freeport McMoran. I mean, I guess they're pretty diversified, but they got copper. They gapped down on their earnings today. Just worth a note. CCJ, again, I like uranium long term, but I like it at cheaper prices. We talked about it failing the 50-day at the 26 area, which is the VAP. Not the VAP, sorry, resistance zone. Support. Resistance. There it is. CF, we talked about this was a pop trade, had pops in it, holding 20-day. I mean, I just think this stuff is going to be sloppy and choppy. I like these names in time, on weakness. Mosaic, same thing. They all look the same. NTR, nope. Do not hold these names. Trade them. AA, talked about this, their earnings. Pop, flop. Better hold on to the 38 level. It is holding on with dear life. XLF, love the short up here in the mid-30s. Think it makes sense. Maybe if we get to the 50, 100-day, I doubt it, but 3350 to 3250 range was my thought process. You gapped up on those earnings last week, and JP Morgan is an absolute dream to short here. I've explained why in previous videos. I like it with tight stops, risk reward. Microsoft, not Microsoft, Morgan Stanley, Poppin talked about watching the 50, 100-day. Keep an eye on that. Looks like very juicy for a short. Goldman Sachs, same kind of thing. All up at these major moving averages crossing. Keep an eye on it. Probably fills the gap. Put that on your radar for a short. XBI, not surprised it rallied. It's been choppy up here, but now you've got the resistance. Now, again, we talked about baby bios and the tech's so strong. Why are they not up here? Well, they started lifting up here during OPEX and a little before. Let's see what happens here. Keep an eye on it, right? Like, there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't look especially correct, in my opinion. And you say, well, what's correct, what's right, wrong? And just, be careful. Here's transports. Let's just go through some of these other sectors. Could it get up into 230s? I don't know. It's chopping. Definitely lagging. Remember, transports lead. They're nowhere near the highs like the SPY and the Qs. CSX had earnings that popped. I'm just kind of bouncing around. Not the ideal candle that you want to see. Just be careful. Oh, where's housing? Because again, with all the new rules, if you zoom out, let me pull this up because this is interesting. I don't always go over all the charts, but the weekly coming into this like 100-month. Let me zoom out and you can see that there's a clear resistance zone, whatever, right in this area. Could draw it a little thicker, but just keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it because I think housing is softening. I'm seeing in my data, Denver, which is considered a strong market, housing is absolutely slowing down, even as inventory is increasing, which and people should be buying this time of year. A little scary. Solar, sloppy, choppy, sloppy, whatever. Just again, it's such an easy short in my opinion, long term. But be careful. You got earnings coming up. Some of these names could pop. Then you can slam them short. Watch these zones, as you might imagine, 235, and be prepared for wicks. Or they could just gap down and be game over. So that's the hard part here. Same thing, Sedge. Could you get back up into this, I don't know, 330s, I don't know, let's just stretch it down. 330, plus range. I don't know. First solar popped again today. End of day just got absolutely cooked. But chopping around. Be safe. Get into oils. The oil looks again like we talked about weakening. Please UNG. I don't even know why I look at these, but people keep asking. Leave it alone. I hate the UNG. It's, in my opinion, just too. It needs a reverse split before I even would think about it. XOP, we warned folks up in the mid 130s. It might hit the zone and flop. Well, looks like it's doing such. It's in another support zone at the moment, which not surprising if it chopped around here. You got ExxonMobil coming up with some earnings. It's just holding high and tight near 116, 117. Worth a watch. Occidental. Is it that Occident keeps dropping? Something's going on here, right? Like, you got to keep in your mind the 50-day here. Buffett loves it probably coming down. He probably sold cover calls. Every time this thing goes in the news, assume he's just selling cover calls. PXD, we talked about ExxonMobil buying them out. ExxonMobil is notoriously bad at buying companies at the highs in the cycles. Well, it would make sense if they bought this. And again, I really think they're so tight with the institutions that they would love. They know when to short their own stock. They know when to sell. They know how to manipulate it. It'd be like, all right, we buy this thing, let it come down, then we rebuy our stock and just play the game over and over and over. Again, PXD, buyout target potentially. Keep that in mind. EQT, lag. Chop. Again, oil names, meh. Flex LNG, again, love this name in time. I think we're going to be a major exporter of natural gas. Just give it some time. All right, if you have any questions, please reach out. Try to do the recap pretty quick. Again, there's not a ton out there other than the obvious choppiness that's leading to what? Chop top distribution. You got to remember, the market makers don't want to sell at, down the market if they don't have to. They'd rather hold it up to sell into. Think about it. That's why when the news and the media and everyone's screaming how bullish it is and that the tendency is that they always go up and the market's already bottom and everything's great, and then all of a sudden the market just goes sideways and chopping, doesn't look that good, actually. And, people are going to say a lot of things, and the media's going to say a lot of things, and I'm just telling you right now, don't expect the market to bottom before the recession starts. And the Feds haven't even started cutting. I remember when the Feds cut, that's when the market also gets crazier, because usually there's a lot worse going on. And I'm telling you right now, whether it's deep recession or not, I think the market's going to be choppy and sloppy. However, please be mentally prepared for what? To buy assets. If you're looking and you've got cash and you want to buy real estate, keep in mind, if people aren't buying, the rents typically go up. And if the rents aren't going up, then the house prices go up. Again, I always try to explain to people, like, you want to buy when everyone's scared, right? When blood in the street. Well, what's the best way to do that is be prepared. Talk to your mortgage broker. Reach out. Let me get involved. I can be your referral agent and get 2 agents for 1. And the goal would be to what? Find investment property. Or if you're looking to buy or sell and need guidance, because again, there's a lot of terrible agents out there guiding people very badly about what to do with their real estate. Oh, overprice it. I mean, their strategies are so dumb. Spend money, fix things up, do things without even thinking and knowing the market. Again, if you want to have somebody else involved in the process, another mind, another idea to shoot off, because again, as much as there's great brokers out there, there's a lot of bad brokers. Think about it in general of anything. There's a lot of good and a lot of bad. The good agents hopefully will help you get the most amount of money in the quickest amount of time. Because again, remember, if your house goes to market, doesn't sell within the first month, 2 weeks, people start assuming negative things. And especially in this market with low inventory, good houses go quick. So pricing strategy, having, whether you have a whole host of things. You could have it staged. You have it a little bit of fix up, just sprucing up for the springtime. So many little ideas and things you can do to save money, but also get the most bang for your buck. Here to help. And again, check out www.thetradingagent.com. Push out the newsletter every weekend. Try to help people out. Best interest for everybody, ultimately. Share knowledge, be thoughtful, and be honest. Help each other out, right? You got to give to receive, I feel like, in this world. Because, again, maybe you don't, but that's how I feel about it. It vibrationally feels much better to always help people out, because when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Like, it's nice when people are like that. And that's where the value of what I'm trying to do, I feel like, is impressed upon, because in those instances when I can help people, it fills my cup as the type of person I am. So hopefully you appreciate that. And again, I appreciate all the love and support, generous donations. It's always appreciated, because again, I'm here for you guys. If you have any questions, again, check out the Calendly link. If you want to have a 30-minute conversation with me, the link is in the description below as well. I'll be around. So always trying to stay busy. Keep in mind that, but I'll do my best to respond to you when I can. On that note, have a great weekend. Do some studying. Check out the weekly, monthly charts. Just remember, you got a ton of earnings next week. A ton of earnings. Everybody you can think of really is posting their earnings. So I will talk to you guys and gals later. Have a great weekend.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.